Have you ever looked at a picture of the Great Pyramid of Giza and asked yourself, how in the world did they build that? I know I have. It's one of the most famous buildings in history. It's big, old, and full of mystery. But the biggest mystery of all is this. How did people over 4,000 years ago build such a huge thing without modern machines? Today I want to explore that question with you. Let's take a journey back in time, to ancient Egypt, and see how this great wonder might have been made. First, let's talk about what the pyramid really is. The Great Pyramid is in Egypt, near Cairo. It was built around 4,500 years ago for a king named Pharaoh Khufu. That's a long time ago, before cars, airplanes, or even iron tools. The pyramid is made of millions of heavy stone blocks. Some of these blocks weigh more than 2 tons. That's as heavy as a small car. So how did they move all those stones? For a long time, people had wild ideas. Some said aliens helped build the pyramids. Others believed magic was used. Of course, those are fun stories, but they're not based on real science. Today, many scientists and historians have better ideas that are based on real evidence. First, let's think about the workers. Who built the pyramids? Some people believed the workers were slaves, but today, many experts think they were skilled workers, like builders, stonecutters, and engineers. They were well-fed and even had doctors. Some may have been farmers who worked on the pyramid during the farming off-season, when the Nile River flooded and they couldn't work in the fields. Now imagine you're one of those workers. Every day, you wake up early. The sun is hot. You and hundreds of other workers have to move giant stones across the desert. You don't have trucks or cranes, so what do? One of the most popular ideas is that they used sleds. These sleds were like big wooden trays. The stones were placed on the sleds, and then many men pulled them with ropes. But wait, wouldn't the sled get stuck in the sand? That's what you might think. But here's the smart part. Recent studies show they may have poured water on the sand in front of the sled. This made the sand hard and smooth, which helped the sled slide more easily. Isn't that clever? Okay, now you have a way to move the stones on flat ground. But the pyramid is tall. How did they lift the stones up to build the upper levels? That's another big question. Some experts think they built long ramps. These ramps could have gone straight up, or in a zigzag around the pyramid. Workers could pull the stones up the ramps using the same sled method. As the pyramid got higher, they made the ramps higher too. Some people believe the ramps were made of mud brick and limestone chippings, materials that were easy to remove after the pyramid was finished. Still, there are other ideas. A French architect named Jean-Pierre Houdin suggested that the ramp was not outside, but inside the pyramid. He said there might be a spiral tunnel hidden inside the walls. This idea is very interesting, and modern technology like 3D scans and muon detectors are helping scientists look for hidden spaces. Who knows? Maybe we'll discover more in the future. Let's also think about how the stones were cut. Remember, they didn't have iron tools. So how did they cut such hard stones like granite? The answer is copper. They used copper tools, which are much softer than granite. So they had to work very carefully. For granite, they may have used harder stones to pound and shape the blocks. It was slow, but it worked. And what about the design? The Great Pyramid is almost perfectly square. Each side faces exactly north, south, east, and west. How did they do that? They used the stars. The ancient Egyptians were great astronomers. They watched the night sky and used simple tools like a stick and string to find true north. With this, they made the pyramid perfectly aligned with the cardinal directions. Amazing, right? There's another thing to think about. Teamwork. This was not a one-man job. It took tens of thousands of workers many years to complete just one pyramid. People had to plan everything: when to bring the stones, how to move them, where to place them. There were leaders, teams, schedules. It was like building a giant city. This tells us that the ancient Egyptians were not just strong. They were smart, organized, and determined. Let me ask you something. Have you ever tried to build something big, like a Lego castle or a sand sculpture? You probably needed help. You had to plan. Maybe it didn't work at first, and you had to try again. That's exactly how it was for the Egyptians, just on a much, much bigger scale. One more interesting point. The pyramids were not built just for fun or beauty. They were tombs for pharaohs. Egyptians believed in life after death. They thought the pharaoh would become a god in the next world. So the pyramid was like a launch pad to the heavens. It had secret rooms, traps, and treasures to help the king on his journey. That belief made the building of the pyramid a very serious and important job. So to answer our big question, how were the pyramids built? The best answer is this. They were built with human strength, smart engineering, and teamwork. They didn't need aliens or magic. Just thousands of people working together, using simple but smart tools over many years. And here's the final thought I want to leave you with. When you look at the Great Pyramid today, you are not just looking at a pile of stones. You are looking at human dreams, hard work, and brilliant ideas. Even after 4,500 years, it still stands, reminding us what people can do when they work together for something greater than themselves. So the next time you see a pyramid, don't just ask how. Ask also why. And remember the people behind the stones, the hands that built them, and the hearts that dreamed them. Thank you for listening.